I stood at the back of the conference room while my own son announced my retirement. 67 years old, and I'd just buried my wife 2 weeks ago. The cancer took her in 4 months. Now my son was taking everything else. After 35 years of service, Michael said, his smile too wide for the cameras, my father has decided to step down. He's earned his rest. I hadn't decided anything. I just nodded when the photographers turned to me, picked up the cheap watch they gave me as a retirement gift, walked out of the building I'd spent 3 decades building. My name is Richard Walsh. 3 weeks ago, I stood in the rain at my wife Catherine's grave in Mount Pleasant Cemetery. Today, I'm standing in a Tim Hortons in Scarborough with 2 suitcases and nowhere to go. Let me back up. Catherine and I built Walsh Construction from nothing. Started in 1988 with a used truck and a dream. We did small jobs at first, renovations, additions, the kind of work where you're on your knees in someone's basement, hoping the check clears. Catherine kept the books. I swung the hammer. We made it work. By 1995, we had 12 employees. By 2000, we were bidding on commercial projects. By 2010, we had contracts with the city. Nothing huge. We weren't building CN Tower, but we were solid, reliable, the kind of company that paid its bills on time and showed up when we said we would. Michael joined us in 2005. Fresh out of university, business degree from Western, he had ideas, big ideas. We need to modernize, Dad. Digital marketing, project management software. We can't run a company on handshakes anymore. He was right. I knew that. Catherine knew that. So we brought him on, made him operations manager, eventually vice president. He married Jennifer in 2008. Nice girl, we thought. Came from money. Her father owned a chain of car dealerships across the GTA. She didn't understand why Michael was working in construction instead of something more prestigious. But they seemed happy. They gave us 2 grandchildren, Emma and Jack. Beautiful kids. We'd see them every Sunday for dinner. Catherine would make her roast chicken. The kids would run around our backyard in Etobicoke. Life was good. Then Catherine got sick. Stage 4, pancreatic cancer. The doctor said maybe 6 months if we were lucky. We got 4. She spent the last 6 weeks in Princess Margaret Hospital. I was there every day. Michael visited twice. Jennifer came once, stayed 10 minutes, said the hospital smell made her nauseous. Catherine died on a Tuesday morning in October. I was holding her hand. She looked at me and said, "Take care of yourself, Richard. Don't let them push you around." I didn't know what she meant. I do now. The funeral was the following Saturday. Cold rain. About 60 people showed up. Our employees, old friends, some clients. Michael gave a speech about what a wonderful mother Catherine was, how she inspired him, how she'd want us to carry on her legacy. Jennifer stood beside him in a black dress that probably cost more than Catherine's entire wardrobe. She checked her phone 3 times during the service. That night, back at our house, Michael sat me down at the kitchen table, the same table where Catherine and I had signed our first business loan papers in 1988. "Dad," he said, "we need to talk about the company." "Not tonight, Michael. I know the timing isn't great, but we have decisions to make. The Mississauga project starts next month. The Vaughan contract needs signatures. You're not in a position to handle this right now." Jennifer stood behind him, arms crossed. "Michael's been running things anyway," she said. "You've been at the hospital for weeks. My wife just died." "We know, Dad. We know. And we're here for you. But the company needs leadership, strong leadership. I think it's time you stepped back. Let me take over as CEO. You can stay on as chairman emeritus, still get paid, still have your name on the building. But day to day, that's on me now." I was tired. So tired. Catherine's death had hollowed me out. I wasn't sleeping, wasn't eating. The house felt like a museum of everything I'd lost. "Can we talk about this next week?" "Dad." Michael's voice got harder. "I need an answer now. I have investors waiting. This is a limited time opportunity." "Investors?" "Jennifer's father. Some of his business associates. They're willing to put serious money into Walsh Construction, but only if I'm running it. They need to see modern management. Vision, Someone who understands growth? Something Catherine said came back to me. This was 3 days before she died. Her voice was weak, but her eyes were clear. I changed some things, Richard. Legal things. Check with David Chen, our lawyer. Promise me you'll check with David. I'd been so focused on her comfort, on holding her hand, on making sure she wasn't in pain, that I hadn't thought about it again. Until now. I'll think about it, I told Michael. His jaw tightened. There's nothing to think about. Sign the papers, step down gracefully, enjoy your retirement. I said I'll think about it. Jennifer laughed. Actually laughed. Richard, you're 67 years old. You just lost your wife. You can barely function. Michael has been carrying this company for the last 2 years anyway. All you do is show up and shake hands. It's time. That's when I should have known. That's when I should have seen it. But grief makes you stupid, makes you weak. So I just stood up and went to bed. Alone, in the house that was too quiet now. The next morning, I woke up to voices downstairs. Michael and Jennifer were in my kitchen, going through Catherine's things. We can donate most of this, Jennifer was saying. The dishes are outdated. These cookbooks are ancient. Oh God, are these actually doilies? I came downstairs. They both turned. Dad, we're just helping you clean up. This must be so hard for you. Catherine's mother's china was in a box. The one she'd brought from Ireland in 1955. The one Catherine had shown me on our third date, telling me about her grandmother's hands painting those tiny flowers. Put it back. Dad, you don't need all this stuff. It's just clutter. We're helping. This is my house. Those are my wife's things. Put them back. Jennifer rolled her eyes. See? This is what I mean. You're not thinking clearly. You're too emotional. Michael, tell him. Dad, we're worried about you. You can't stay in this big house alone. It's not healthy. We've been looking at some really nice retirement communities. There's one in Burlington. Amazing facilities. Social activities. Meals included. You'd love it. I'm not going to a retirement home. It's not a retirement home. It's independent living. For active seniors. I'm staying here. You can't, Dad. This house is part of the company assets. It's in the corporate structure. If I'm taking over as CEO, we need to liquidate some properties to fund the expansion. This house is worth at least $2 million, maybe more. The market's crazy right now. My blood went cold. This is my house. I bought it in 1990. Actually, Jennifer pulled out a folder. It's registered under Walsh Construction Holdings. Corporate property. Michael showed me the paperwork. That can't be right. It is. I have the land registry documents right here. See? Walsh Construction Holdings Incorporated, not Richard Walsh. The company owns it, and Michael's taking over the company. So technically, this is his house now. I grabbed the papers. She was right. The house was registered to the company. But I didn't remember doing that. Catherine handled the paperwork. She must have had a reason. You have 2 options, Michael said. Option 1, you sign over the CEO position to me. We sell this house. You move into the retirement community. We set you up with a nice monthly stipend. You live comfortably. No stress. And option 2? There is no option 2, Dad. This is what's happening. I'm trying to be respectful. I'm trying to do this the right way. But with or without your cooperation, I'm taking over Walsh Construction. Jennifer's father's lawyers have already drawn up the papers. You're mentally incapable of running a company right now. Your wife just died. You're clearly depressed. We have doctors who will testify to that. You're threatening me. I'm protecting the company. Our company. My inheritance. Jennifer put her hand on Michael's shoulder. We're thinking of the grandchildren, Richard. Emma and Jack deserve stability. They deserve a father who's successful, not some sad old man living in the past. I looked at my son. Really looked at him. Tried to find the boy who used to help me carry lumber, who learned to use a level when he was 8, who told me he wanted to build things like his dad. That boy was gone, if he ever existed. Get out of my house. It's not your house anymore, Dad. But fine. We'll give you a week to pack. 1 week. Then we're putting it on the market. They left. I sat at Catherine's table and I cried. For the first time since she died, I actually cried. Then I called David Chen. David had been our lawyer for 23 years. He'd handled everything: contracts, incorporation, Catherine's will. He picked up on the second ring. "Richard, I've been waiting for your call. How are you holding up?" "David, I need to know what Catherine did. She said she changed things. Legal things." There was a pause. "Can you come to my office?" "This isn't a phone conversation." I drove to his office in downtown Toronto, a nice building on Bay Street. David met me at reception, led me to a conference room with a view of Lake Ontario. He put a folder on the table. "Catherine came to see me 6 weeks before she died. She was very clear about what she wanted. She said she'd been watching Michael, watching how he operated. She didn't like what she saw. What did she do? She created a trust, a very specific trust. All company shares, all property, all assets go into the Richard Walsh Family Trust. You're the sole beneficiary. You have complete control. Michael has nothing. He's an employee. Always has been." Catherine made sure of it. I stared at the papers. "The house? Yours. The company? Yours. The bank accounts? Yours. Michael doesn't own a single share of Walsh Construction. He never did. Catherine set it up that way when we first incorporated, but she reinforced it before she died. She was very thorough. Why didn't she tell me? She said you were too nice, too trusting. She said Michael was taking advantage of that. She wanted to protect you." My hands were shaking. "So when Michael said the house is corporate property, he's lying. Or more accurately, he's reading documents he doesn't understand." "Yes, the house is registered to Walsh Construction Holdings. But Walsh Construction Holdings is owned entirely by the Richard Walsh Family Trust, which you control. He can't sell it, can't touch it, can't do anything without your signature. And the company? Same thing. He's been acting like he's in charge, but legally, he's just an employee. You can fire him tomorrow if you want." I sat back, thought about Catherine, how she'd always been the smart one, the one who saw things coming. "There's more," David said. Catherine asked me to do some investigating. Quietly. She had concerns about Michael's business dealings. He pulled out another folder. Bank statements, invoices, emails. Michael's been embezzling. Not huge amounts. Small enough that it didn't trigger audits. But over the past 3 years, he's taken about $400,000 from company accounts. He's been paying himself consulting fees through a numbered company, billing for services never rendered, classic fraud. Why would he do that? Jennifer. Her lifestyle is expensive. The house in Oakville, the cars, the private school for the kids. Michael's salary wasn't enough. So he started stealing. I felt sick. Does he know about the trust? I don't think so. Catherine specifically told me not to tell anyone, not even you, until after she was gone. She wanted to see what Michael would do, if he'd show his true colors. He did. He certainly did. The question is, what do you want to do about it? I thought about it. About Michael standing in my kitchen, threatening me. About Jennifer going through Catherine's things like they were garbage. About my grandchildren being raised by people who valued money over family. I want to teach him a lesson. David smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. I was hoping you'd say that. Here's what we did. I went home, packed a small bag, left most of my things, made it look like I was broken, defeated. Then I called Michael. You win, I said. I'll sign the papers. I'll move out. Just give me 2 weeks to get my affairs in order. That's the right decision, Dad. You won't regret this. Can I ask one favor? What? Let me throw a retirement party. At the office, for the employees. They deserve to hear it from me. Michael hesitated. Then Jennifer's voice in the background. Let him have his party. It'll make the transition look better, more legitimate. Fine. 2 weeks. Then you're out. I hung up. David was watching me. You sure about this? Catherine didn't raise a fool. She just married one. Time to fix that. The next 2 weeks were interesting. I moved into a hotel, nothing fancy. A Holiday Inn near the airport. Let Michael think I was falling apart. Meanwhile, David was working, gathering evidence, building a case. Michael moved fast. He had business cards printed with CEO on them before I even left the house. Started making changes. Fired 3 of our oldest employees, the ones who remembered when we were small. Who knew Catherine? Who might ask questions? He brought in Jennifer's father's people, slick guys in expensive suits. They talked about maximizing profit margins and streamlining operations. They wanted to cut corners, use cheaper materials, underbid competitors even if it meant doing shoddy work. Everything Catherine and I had built was being dismantled. Our reputation, our relationships, our values. But I waited, played my part, the sad old man shuffling around in his cardigan. The retirement party was on a Friday. Michael rented out a function room at the Fairmont Royal York, catered food, open bar. He invited clients, employees, media. He wanted this to be a big deal, wanted everyone to see him taking over. I showed up early, wearing the same old suit I'd worn to Catherine's funeral. Michael was already there, looking sharp in something Italian. "Dad, glad you could make it. Wouldn't miss it." Jennifer air-kissed my cheek. "You look tired, Richard. Are you sleeping okay?" "Not really. But that's what happens when you lose everything." She actually looked pleased, like she'd won. The room filled up. Employees, clients, some of Catherine's friends, old contractors we'd worked with. My foreman, Tom, who'd been with us since 1993. He pulled me aside. "Boss, is this really what you want?" "Trust me, Tom." At 7 o'clock, Michael called everyone to attention, stood at the podium, gave a speech about legacy and tradition and the future of Walsh Construction. My father built something amazing. But business evolves, markets change. To honor his legacy, we have to be willing to adapt. That's why, effective immediately, I'm taking over as CEO of Walsh Construction. My father has earned his retirement. Please join me in thanking him for 35 years of service. Everyone clapped. Some people looked confused. Some looked sad. Tom looked angry. Michael handed me the microphone. "Dad, would you like to say a few words?" I took the mic, looked around the room, saw people I'd worked with for decades. People who'd trusted us, who'd trusted Catherine. "Thank you all for coming. I have a few things to say." I pulled out my phone, connected it to the projector. The screen behind me lit up. "Michael just told you he's taking over as CEO. That's interesting. Because according to these documents, Michael doesn't own Walsh Construction. He never has. He's an employee, a vice president, nothing more." The room went silent. Michael's face went white. "These are the corporate registration documents, the trust agreements, all signed and notarized. Walsh Construction is owned by the Richard Walsh Family Trust, which I control. My wife set it up that way years ago. She was smart like that." "Dad, what are you doing?" "I'm not finished. Michael has been embezzling from the company. $400,000 over 3 years. Here are the bank statements, the fake invoices, the numbered companies. Everything." The screen showed transaction after transaction. Michael's face went from white to red. "I've filed a police report. The fraud investigation unit will be here Monday morning. I've also terminated your employment, effective immediately. You're fired, Michael. Security will escort you out." 2 security guards I'd hired stepped forward. Tom was grinning. Jennifer screamed. Actually screamed. "You can't do this. That's our money. We've worked for this. You've stolen. There's a difference. Michael's your son. How can you do this to family?" I thought about Catherine, about her china and boxes, about her clothes being called garbage, about being threatened in my own kitchen. Family doesn't steal from family. Family doesn't lie to family. You taught me that. The police arrived. Apparently, David had tipped them off. They read Michael his rights. Fraud, embezzlement, forgery. The fake retirement documents he'd created trying to force me out had his signature all over them. Jennifer tried to run. Literally tried to run in her heels. She made it to the elevator before the police stopped her. Turns out she was involved too. Had helped create the fake invoices. Conspiracy to commit fraud. The party ended pretty quickly after that. Tom came up to me. "Catherine knew, didn't she? She knew what they were planning. She always was the smart one." The criminal trial took 8 months. Michael pleaded guilty to embezzlement and fraud. Got 2 years. Jennifer got 18 months. Turns out her father's business associates wanted nothing to do with Walsh Construction. They disappeared fast once the charges hit the news. The civil case was faster. I sued for the 400,000 plus damages. 1. They had to sell their house in Oakville, the cars, everything. Emma and Jack went to live with Jennifer's parents. I tried to get visitation, but Jennifer's mother said I was toxic and vindictive. Maybe I am, but I'm not a thief. I'm 70 now, still running Walsh Construction. We're smaller than we were. A lot of clients left during the scandal. But the ones who stayed, they're the good ones. The ones who knew Catherine, who understand that some things matter more than money. I sold the big house in Etobicoke. Too many ghosts. Bought a condo near High Park. I can see the lake from my balcony. Sometimes I sit there with my coffee and talk to Catherine. Tell her she was right, that I should have listened sooner. I took the 400,000 I recovered and created the Catherine Walsh Scholarship Fund for kids who want to learn trades, plumbing, electrical, construction, real work. The kind of work Catherine and I did. The kind of work that builds things instead of destroying them. Michael gets out next year. I don't know if he'll contact me. Part of me hopes he will. Part of me hopes he won't. I don't know what I'd say to him, but I learned something from all this. Catherine tried to tell me before she died, don't let them push you around. She wasn't just talking about Michael. She was talking about life, about standing up, about protecting what matters. People see a successful business and they see money. They see property. They see things they can take. But Catherine and I, we built something different. We built trust. We built relationships. We built a reputation for doing right by people. That's worth more than any house, more than any title, more than anything Michael could have stolen. I still have Catherine's china. It's in my condo. I don't use it much, but sometimes, on Sundays, I'll make her roast chicken, set the table with her grandmother's plates, pour myself a glass of wine, and I'll remember what it felt like to build something real with someone you love. That's what Michael never understood. That's what Jennifer never saw. They thought wealth was about money, but real wealth is about knowing who you are, knowing what you stand for, and having the courage to protect it, even when it's your own son trying to take it away. Especially then.